Stanford researchers just published a study on what AI companies do with your data. And one finding buried in that report should make every person who has ever typed something private into a chatbot stop and think very carefully. Every single one of the 6 biggest AI companies uses your conversations to train their models. By default, without asking. Some keep that data indefinitely. Some let human employees read your actual conversations. And at companies like Google, Meta, and Microsoft, what you tell the AI gets merged with your search history, your purchases, your location, and your social media behavior to build a profile of you more detailed than anything they have ever had before. You thought you were asking a chatbot a question. You were actually feeding a machine that is building a file on you. And here's the part that should genuinely alarm you. Most people have no idea this is happening, and the companies are counting on that. So let me show you exactly what is being collected, how it is being used, and what you can actually do about it. Because this affects every single person using AI tools in 2026, which, at this point, is most of the developed world. A Stanford University research team set out to do something nobody had done before. They read the actual privacy policies of the 6 biggest AI companies operating in the United States: Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, OpenAI, Anthropic. All 6, in full, and documented exactly what each company claims the right to collect, retain, and use. The findings were consistent across all 6 companies. Every single one uses your chat data to train its AI models by default, not as an opt-in feature, not as something they ask your permission for. By default, automatically, from the moment you start typing. Some companies retain that data indefinitely. There is no deletion schedule, no expiry date, no point at which your conversations are purged from their systems. Some permit human employees to read your actual conversations as part of the training and quality review process. Not anonymized summaries, your actual words in context. And in the case of companies that operate multiple products simultaneously, which includes Google, Meta, and Microsoft, your AI interactions are routinely merged with data collected across their entire product ecosystem. Your search history, your purchase records, your location data, your social media activity, your email patterns if you use their email services. All of it combined with what you discuss in your AI chats to construct profiles of you that are more comprehensive and more intimate than anything these companies have previously been able to assemble. Now here's a specific scenario that the Stanford researchers described to illustrate how this actually works in practice. And I want you to think carefully about this one. You ask an AI for dinner ideas. You mention you want something low sugar or heart-friendly. The AI notes that input. The algorithm classifies you as health vulnerable based on that single conversational signal. That classification moves through the company's internal data infrastructure. You start seeing targeted advertisements for medications, health products, and medical services. And as the Stanford researchers noted directly in their paper, the pathway from that health inference to an insurance company's underwriting systems is not difficult to construct. You asked for a restaurant recommendation. The system recorded a probable medical condition. And that information is now somewhere in a data pipeline you have no visibility into, no control over, and in most jurisdictions, no legal right to remove. That is not a hypothetical risk scenario. That is a description of how these systems are currently designed and currently operating. And it goes well beyond chatbots. Amazon announced in early 2025 that all voice recordings from Echo devices would be transmitted to Amazon's cloud servers by default going forward. And critically, that users would no longer have the option to disable this. The privacy setting that previously allowed users to process voice recordings locally, keeping them off Amazon's servers entirely, was removed. No opt-out was offered. No meaningful notice was given beyond an update to the terms of service that the company knew the overwhelming majority of users would never read. You can no longer stop your own home from being listened to by Amazon. That option has been eliminated. Now let's talk about what the public actually thinks about all of this, because the numbers reveal something deeply uncomfortable. According to Pew Research, 70% of adults say they do not trust AI companies to use their data responsibly, and 81% expect their personal information to be used in ways they would not be comfortable with if they fully understood the details. According to Pew Research, 70% of adults say they do not trust AI companies to use their data responsibly, and 81% expect their personal information to be used in ways they would not be comfortable with if they fully understood the details. Read that second number carefully. 81%. More than 8 out of every 10 people using these tools today expect to be harmed by the data practices of the companies running them. And they continue using them anyway. Because in 2026, not using AI tools means falling behind, professionally, academically, and practically in ways that have real consequences for careers and income. Using AI means being harvested. Not using AI means being left behind. That is not a free choice. That is a structural trap that these companies have designed deliberately and profitably. And they are counting on the complexity of their legal documents to make sure users never fully understand what they have agreed to. Researchers studying how people actually interact with terms of service agreements found that users averaged just 73 seconds reading a document that takes approximately 30 minutes to read in full. 73 seconds. The companies writing these documents know this. They write them to be legally binding and practically unreadable. Because the moment users genuinely understand what they are consenting to, they consent to significantly less of it. An independent privacy ranking published by research firm Incogni in November 2025 evaluated the major AI platforms across 3 categories: data collection scope, transparency about data use, and user control over opt-out options. Meta AI ranked at the very bottom of the list. Google's Gemini and Microsoft's Copilot ranked only marginally better. The companies with the most extensive existing surveillance infrastructure are building the AI products that expand that infrastructure furthest. And here is the regulatory gap that makes all of this possible and that should genuinely outrage you. In the United States, we have specific federal laws governing what a doctor can do with your medical records. The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act creates strict limitations on how health information can be shared, stored, and sold. We have the Graham-Leach-Bliley Act governing what financial institutions can do with your financial information. We have legal protections limiting what the government can do with your private communications without a court order. There is no equivalent federal law governing what a technology company can do with an AI conversation that simultaneously contains your health concerns, your financial worries, your relationship problems, your legal questions, and your most private fears. All in one place, all in one conversation, collected by default, retained indefinitely, accessible to human reviewers, merged with your entire digital history. The most intimate data that millions of people have ever shared is sitting in servers right now with less legal protection than a bank deposit or a doctor's note. And the companies collecting it are spending billions of dollars lobbying against the federal privacy legislation that would change that. So what can you actually do about this right now? First, go into the settings of every AI tool you currently use and look for the option to opt out of having your conversations used for model training. It is almost never the default setting. You have to find it manually. At OpenAI, it is under Data Controls in your account settings. At Google, it is in your Gemini app's activity settings. At Meta, it is buried in your privacy settings. It takes 5 minutes to do across all platforms, and it meaningfully limits how your data is used going forward. Second, change the way you think about AI conversations. Treat them the way you would treat a conversation in a public space that is being recorded. Do not share specific medical details, financial account information, full names combined with addresses, or anything you would not want stored indefinitely in a corporate database. The convenience of asking AI anything is real. So is the cost. Third, understand the business model behind free AI tools. If you are not paying for the product is the data you generate by using it. That has been true of social media for 20 years. It is now true of AI. The difference is that AI conversations are orders of magnitude more revealing than social media posts. The regulatory framework that would protect you from the misuse of this data does not yet exist in any meaningful form in the United States. And it will not exist until there is enough public pressure to force legislators to act against the lobbying power of the companies that benefit from the current absence of rules. Until then, the only meaningful protection you have is understanding exactly what is happening and making deliberate choices about what you share and with whom. If you like my video, please click on the like button and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.